Okay, let's see how tired I look. I look pretty fucking tired. Hi. I'm almost as clean as that toilet. My life is such an unsteady whirlwind right now that it felt appropriate to sit down in front of the camera and just show you what I look like and start my day getting ready with you guys. So let's do it. There's real life stuff that I want to talk to you guys about, but there's also more like metaphorical stuff that I want to say because the real life stuff brings on the metaphorical stuff. It's actually really hard to pay attention to what you're saying and get ready at the same time. Do I really only have one? You tripping? Am I tripping? I'm tripping. Oh my God, Diamond. What did you think was gonna happen here today? I don't know if you guys noticed, but these clips, these big 90s looking clips are my thing. And I only brought one with me. I'm staying at my parents' house for a few days and I only brought one with me. So now, do I wear it? It's not that I don't think about video ideas before I sit down in front of this camera or plan out my time before I decide to hit the record button. It's that I overthink the ideas, and when I want to put the ideas into fruition, my body won't let me. Isn't there an outlet over here? No, there's not. Because if there was, my life would have been easier when I was trying to use the bathroom. All those years growing up without an outlet. Tragic. And that's the topic of today's video, being outletless. This is definitely not one of those videos in which I care about every single hair that's on my head and make it look beautiful and put little swirls in my edges, because that's something that I never really cared about. And yes, I'm only saying that because I can't get my edges to go into little swirls. I just never thought that little swirls in my edges was something that I was going to want. And now here I am wanting it and I can't get it to happen. And lately I've been asking myself a lot of questions and making myself into this person that I'm not really sure I am, because I haven't really settled with a singular identity. And I know that you don't need really to have singular identities. I know that identities are multifaceted and you can have as many layers to your identity as you want. But when you don't know what any of those layers are, or when you don't really you don't feel like you can dig deep enough to find the core of where those layers start, it's kind of confusing to even get yourself into the mode of thinking that having layers and multifacets is okay. I've been having a lot of talks about sexuality with my partner and with my friends, and just talking about how my sexuality plays a role in developing my identity, as it does with most people. So I've been having these talks and it's been making me realize that there are things about myself that I don't know. And not knowing things about yourself really puts a wedge in your growth. And the only way to really figure out what it is that you don't know is to try and experience things that you haven't experienced before, so you can maybe answer those questions that you don't know how to answer. Sometimes the case is just that until you have those experiences, you're not really gonna know about those parts of yourself because you haven't put yourself in a situation that makes you uncomfortable enough for growth. I make myself uncomfortable every day, and it's not for growing purposes. I have really been trying to think about what it is I want and who I want to be. And it's been causing a lot of rifts because I realize I don't know. And I guess what I'm here to tell you is it's okay to not know. Not knowing your full identity is the first step to figuring out what your identity is. It's the first layer of the ogre onion that is you. You little ogre onion. Wow, how do makeup artists do this? Honestly, how do people talk at all? Not just how do people talk while doing their makeup, how do people talk at all? Because I can't seem to do that. When you challenge yourself to be uncomfortable and to put yourself in situations that you might not have done willfully on your own, it sets you up to root in different places and grow in different ways. What's that thing organisms do when they evolve and get better traits as evolution goes on? Like, because armadillos were in some sort of situation that required them to turn into a little roly-poly whenever they wanted to, now they're roly-poly mammals because they have those outer shells, and something made them have those outer shells. They didn't start there, I don't think. You're kind of like a pre-roly-poly armadillo if you don't know too much about yourself. The one thing that's not helpful when you're figuring out what you want to do, who you want to be, how you want to identify, is beating yourself up and letting your insecurities get the best of you and make you an angry person. Something I was really, really afraid of was becoming angry because I didn't know what I wanted and I didn't know who I wanted to be. And I didn't want to take that out on my friends and family. So I noticed that I was becoming angry, a ball of just tension, because there was no release. There was no outlet. There was no way for me to get this energy, this unknown energy out of me, or at least recognize it so I could move on to the next step of figuring out how to make it good energy. For someone who really prides themselves on having open communication with herself, at least, that's where it stops. I'm pretty bad at communicating otherwise. For someone who really prides themselves on having open communication and wanting open communication within the self to be the most important thing that drives my being, not being able to openly communicate within myself was like, it was like squeezing one of those tension balls. Like, you know it should pop because you see the little bubble. You see when you squeeze it and it makes a little bubble, and that bubble should pop, but it's not. These are weird metaphors. My camera's gonna die in a minute. In a minute. In a minute. Moral of the story here is that not knowing is okay, and taking the necessary steps that you need in order to figure out where you want to be to get from point A to point B is okay. If that means turning off your phone, not talking to your friends for a few days, kind of distancing yourself from some people with reasonable explanation if they ask, because these people are your loved ones and they kind of deserve to know in a way that's still protective of your own feelings. It's totally fine to take time to yourself and just do you for a while so you can figure out what it is that you want to do after you do you. We get caught up in wanting people's attention all the time, so when we don't get it, we have to kind of step back and realize that people have problems of their own and they might need some time to themselves to figure those problems out. My point here is to say that I don't know. I don't know when I will know, but I do know that going through the process of not knowing is okay. And I might have to take a really long time to get through that process. Maybe not, but I don't know. I do know I'm gonna put this one clip in my hair because that's how obsessed I am with these clips. I don't care if it doesn't match. See? I don't care. I don't care. I also couldn't see you guys the whole time because I don't know where my glasses are. So, I don't know is the theme of this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. God, why do you guys subscribe to me? Why do you guys listen to what I have to say?